Fucking hell. Now we're fucking live apparently, so I have to fucking do setups. You god damn it, son of a bitch. So, hello everyone, welcome to the podcast episode 3. Google, fuck you, you piece of shit. And why we're saying that, well, Google did a screw job on us, okay? They did a screw job, they told people, hey, we start at 6 o'clock. Well, we started 4 minutes late, because of Google, you piece of shit. So, let's bring up our left side first, my left hand man. A man who is the king of horror, a man who is a great musician, a man that is very talented at what he does, the one and only K Desi. What's up, bro?
That is such a great intro, and I appreciate it. Hello, everybody. How you doing?
And to my right, do I have to really say his name? He's a guy who... No, he's a guy who's talented, who does what I do, but far worse on YouTube, and has done a lot more things for the YouTube community. The only thing he doesn't say is Tottenham and a bunch of cups. The one and only event stays CEO, man.
Wow, well, thank you for that. Hello, everyone. But, wow, okay. That's where we're going today, okay?
Yeah, I'm in a fucking bad mood, okay? Oh, goddamn. Oh, if everything we prepped for the show, we came up an hour late than Google. Fuck. Man, you guys gotta understand, man. I was prepped for 5 o'clock. Everyone turned up late because Google gave the wrong times. Like, how did Google fuck this up? Did he not know the times? Like, what? Man, fucking hell, Google.
Matter of fact, let me take care of something really fast. Just gonna post something really quick.
Oh, you're gonna post that Tottenham is your new fan base?
What?
That Tottenham is your new football fan base. So yeah,
Hey.
I'm a little bit drunk. No, I'm not. But oh yeah. Speaking of, we got to go into our kind of first segment, and you guys got to tell us what you're drinking, because if you're not drinking on this podcast, you're not doing it right. So, prevent what you're drinking.
You're not doing it right.
Yep. Oh,
Wow.
Don't drink and drive, people.
I'm drinking.
Go on.
Oh, of course not. Of course not.
Yeah.
No. I'm drinking, was it Jim Beam Burger?
Okay, not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm having right now.
What are you drinking, Kay?
I am sticking with the classic, tried and true rum, white rum at that.
Okay.
Okay.
He's a pirate, ladies and gentlemen. He's a pirate. He's good. He's trying to find the One Piece.
Oh God, no!
I know.
Good luck with that one.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of, I wonder
Still
what
trying to find it.
Yeah.
Thousands of episodes later. You're still finding it.
Ugh.
Yeah, I'm
That's
trying to
why I
find
can't
it.
do it. I can't do One Piece, man.
Yeah, I understand, man. You told me jokes, so I had to do the fucking joke. God damn it, I'm just drinking Calin, dude. I'm just cheap as fuck. I'm just going for anything that's cheap at the moment. Because of all the inflation and all that bullshit. Oh, god damn it. So, before we start on our first, in quote, serious topic, how you all been doing? Anything you want to call out or anything?
On my end, I hate myself because I decided to go hunt for large elder gems, dragon gems in Monster Hunter World, Iceborne, and did not realize how freaking rare they are. But other than that, I'm doing just fine, and I am having fun playing Monster Hunter since I've been gone for so long with it. Just this one gem, just one, and I can't get it. So, yeah, I decided to do something stupid and go farm for this thing. Been great.
And event, you got anything?
No, I mean, I don't have anything to have any type of hindrances on and call anything out. I mean,
Wow.
everything's been positive on my end.
Wow.
Yeah, everything's positive.
Don't call Google.
I have more. Well, yeah, I could go after Google. I guess I could. All right. Since they told us the wrong time, I guess I could go after Google.
You know what? Mine is just I don't even have anything mad. it's just been, making fun of Tottenham fans because apparently they want to try and do a last deal attempt to get Jesus, which is the most funniest shit. Like, people saying they don't want him, so I guess that. But anything else, it's just been chill. Like, I'm again finding myself again, and oh yeah, fucking horses, I fucking hate them. They're
What did they do?
well, like,
Okay.
right, I'm going
Horse
to
puncher? Okay.
yeah, no, it's not even that. It's like, if anyone don't know, I've been on this pig footpath, and is known to have wild horses there. So it's kind of like a in short, like there's certain paths that have like wild animals around, so you got to be careful where you are. The horses decide to come on the path, so they usually go on the green kind of thing. They always leave you alone most of the time. But because its baby decided to come near me, the fucking father mother is chasing me out of the fucking place. I had to very slowly move away because you should never try and run away from a horse. Oh, hey, Kay.
Horse.
Oh, okay, fucking Joe, what's up? You're doing good.
I'm right here, so.
Yeah. Like, who's here? Who's this person?
He's tired, okay?
Yeah, I'm tired, okay? I like making excuses, I usually do. But it's just, like, I had to jump from a fence just to get away from this horse. So I hurt my back, so I'm in pain, man. So I'm suing the horse for abuse. So hopefully I win in court. So yeah, my day and my month has been fun, but except from that one experience. And fucking Google, you piece of shit, making everyone late.
Excuse me for 1 second. What is wrong with you, Discord? I'm asking this out to the ether. What is wrong with you, Discord? I literally just got kicked. All of Discord just closed. Just said, man, I don't feel like it today.
Fucking
Really?
Christ, man. Episode 3.
This is the Winchester Podcast, everyone. This is what we do. This is what we do.
Like, even episode 2, didn't we have like internet issues as well? And magically we had no problems. So what is going on here, man? Why is it all the mistakes happen on my show and not on Venom Metal Podcast, man? This ain't fair. This ain't fair,
You
man.
know what?
It's real.
That's our signal. It's not a Winchester Podcast without issues. We have to have issues. That's the only way it works.
Yeah, sad but true. Sad but true.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, and to make clear, we are going to be more than likely upsetting you on the show, because we have to talk about serious subjects that have we decided to talk about and has been brought up. Last episode, one of the things, so we're going to talk about that. So be aware, if you are trigger happy, you get upset quite easily, this might not be the show for you. So I just want to give that heads up, because today is going to be more of hands-on kind of thing. We're putting our gloves on, people. We're going to have to do the Undertaker, okay? We have to get those gloves on. But the first subject that I do want to briefly mention, because there was a news story this morning that was brought to my attention. Man or woman was charged with conspiring to bring child to the UK to have his organs. So I wanted to bring this up because, bro, as soon as I wake up, that's the first thing I fucking see. And it's the first thing I get angry about, because the fuck is wrong with my country that we ain't going to accept anyone to come to this country and do it, apparently. And the update to it is apparently it's a Nigerian senator, allegedly. So it's not a good sign. Not a good sign that we will accept that kind of behaviour. So I just want to make that mention to be aware, because let's be honest, we of course do take children's safety very seriously on the show. And we've got two fathers here, they wouldn't be okay if this was around them. So that's why I thought I'd bring it up, because it's very important to establish that we don't take this kind of shit lightly. That's what I just want to briefly mention. Now back to me being an asshole. Anyone want to mention anything on that before we continue?
I think this is about, abuse of power.
Yeah.
I think that I mean, we see child trafficking a lot being caught, but from a senator to pull the strings, to have the type of pull that he has,
Yeah.
it's unconscionable that anybody would do this. But for a senator, knowing, well, you got to think when they elect these officials, they're supposed to hold the highest of standards. So having a person that's doing this, don't get me wrong, we're seeing elected officials all the time doing bad things. We see it. But I mean, so you got to say, okay, they're just as bad as anyone else. But this is a whole different. This is not bad. This is evil.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Like, again, we know all of the what I'm trying to think. We know about what Jeffrey Epstein did, and how he had the connections to get these women, or these victims, children, to do illicit acts. And we all know about Graham Rex Maxwell, who her father was also alleged paedophile as well in the UK, so he's another bad person. She was aware, probably was getting these girls and stuff. This ain't going to be the only thing we ever hear about this kind of thing, so just be prepared that the next few years there's going to be a lot more stories like this coming up, and we need to start really questioning our governments, because they're claiming, oh, we're going to stop this kind of thing, human trafficking. Where's the money going to then? Because the amount of money we're putting into these kind of things, it's very, very small margins towards how much it costs.
The thing is with me, and I recently saw some news lately. So corruption, as far as in government officials, and that's all over the world. It's like if it said, it's a power trip. It's I can do whatever I want because I have this title. I can do what I want because I have this status. And it went from maybe at one point in time, hey, I can just control how people live their lives, or I can control how people get paid, or this, that, and other, whatever have you. Now we're in this form of corruption to where people's lives mean absolutely nothing, and I can do whatever I want with them. Even the lowest of government officials, I mean, not even like senators or anything like that, down to like your city, even down to them, they're like, I can do it. I can do what I want. And these kids, we can keep making, that's I think is the mindset for some. We can keep making kids, and we can keep doing what we want to kids, and we can keep it going because we can constantly keep making kids. And within that mindset, if that is the case, it does run out. It does run out, and you will lose on that. And because you're doing these sick things and horrible things to children, what happens when said child grows up? And I don't mean just, in the aspect of organ harvesting, because, most of the time they're dead. But what happens when these abused children grow up?
Yeah.
What do you see next? Now you're not only are you perpetuating we can constantly keep making kids, but you're not thinking about the fact that we can constantly keep up discourse. We can constantly keep the chaos going. Because these kids are going to grow up and they're going to resent life. They're going to resent people, and they're going to do things out of that resentment. And it's not their fault. That's the crazy part. It's not their fault.
I think that they already resent life before growing up.
Yeah.
I think they see so much. You can only shield them from so much. So I think they see a lot of what's going on early. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of them are open to it early, and they say, okay, that's not right. You know what I mean? Schools teach them that's not right. They learn. But they still see the horrors in that stuff. They still have to be told that stuff. You know what I mean? So I think the kids pick up on it earlier. And to be honest, I think some of the stuff it's okay, because that means by the time they get to a certain age, way before our age, before we found out everything, they'll find it out younger, so then they can have a more mature stance on it. But
I agree with that. Yeah. I do.
Yeah, I think in this case though, I don't think that kids, especially at a young age, should know anything about sex trafficking or child trafficking.
Exactly.
I think there's a line that they should know, but I think when these these adults are doing this to children at such a young age, they've been exposed, and it's life altering for them. They may never recover from that if they survive it.
Yes, as we said, like, it's difficult to truly understand the mindset of a child when it comes to this, because no matter what, their life's fucked when it comes to being abused or sexually abused, because they will end up either one, relapse, like they will decide to do it to other kids because that's what they think is fine because they're used to that kind of thing. But also to add to the fact this PTSD, like there was one, like it's like just the Jimmy Savile thing, like the fuck, like we allow this piece of shit to get away for a fucking long time in this country, and seeing that documentary, it was crazy how many people, like as young as 5 years old, that was getting abused. So I just don't understand. I don't understand that mindset. Why would you go after a child? Like, don't abuse people in general. Like, understand this. Women are there. They're women. Have normal sex with women. Do all your sexual fantasy with women. Just don't abuse them. Don't rape them or anything. Just be normal. Please be normal.
That's always been my thing. Is like, I don't understand. Like, where in your head do you think it's okay to go out and attack said people? Women, even men, children. Where in your head, do you feel like, oh, maybe that's a good idea? No. Why? What went wrong with you? And the thing is, a lot of people are like, well, they have conditions, and they start making excuses for them, and this and this.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started. I am so tired of hearing mental illness as something, as an excuse. They're using it as a crutch now. It's a crutch now.
It is. It really is.
Whatever happened to just people being plain old crazy? What happened to that?
Yeah. Like,
everything has to have a reason behind it. Everything has to have a disorder or condition or something. Like, what happened to this person just...
Certain groups are deemed just as criminals, while others are just misunderstood, which is a bunch of bullshit. And then you have these people who make excuses for them. And I put it like this. We've seen, as the years have gone on, we've seen more and more crazy people come out the woodwork. I don't know where it's coming from, but they feel as though now they're, before they'd stay in the house and you wouldn't have to worry about these type of things. Now they're out and about and they don't care. And that's the problem that we're having. So, I mean, for me, it's the world's becoming a scary place because of it. People just, even if it's a mental illness, and like I said, I'm so tired of hearing, because it disrespects people who do have mental illness.
Exactly. I think we touched on that before.
Yeah. I'm gonna probably.
I just feel as though these people who are in power, I'm not trying to hear they have a mental illness. When you are trafficking children, that's not a mental illness. You are doing that consciously. You're doing it consciously. There's no answer to that one, and no excuse to that one.
There isn't. No. Come on.
I was just gonna say, I don't understand it. Growing up, human trafficking, things like that was going on, but for some odd reason, it almost seems non-existent back then. Like how frequent it's happening now, and the type of things that are happening now is so frequent that when it was happening in our generation, like way back when, it's almost non-existent. It's like, oh wait, did people really do that back then? Yeah, they did. They don't seem like it, but
it's more
like you said, they're coming out of the woodwork.
Like, to answer that, I think it's more to do, it's easier to cover up when there's no internet involved anymore. Because back when the internet, now as it is now, it's easier to find out, this shit is going on, this is what's going on, this, that, and the other. When it was just news stories, it was easier to cover up because there's no real way to find out, because police weren't doing their jobs. We don't know what's going on back then.
I think the internet is a gift and a curse.
Yeah,
because
it is.
You have this free flow of information on the internet, and like you said, you can't get away with it unless people are going to find you these days.
Yeah.
If something like that happens, they're going to find out. They're going to find you. That's the good part. The bad part is that you have all these little groups who share all this bad information with each other to get them to do these things and can try to get away with it. That's the bad part of all this. So, for example, and I'll say this, for example, you can find possibly if, for example, if Twitter gets together, they can find someone's address, they can dox somebody because they did something horrible, and they can find a criminal, you know what I mean, before probably the police can find it.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. However, the bad part is if you're looking for something specific, you can find that information anywhere. Like, how do I build a pipe bomb? How do I build a machine gun out of 3D parts? You know what I mean? Like, you can find these things easily, and I think that's the curse to it all. But I guess you have to take the bad with the good at this point. You know what I mean? And have people just be responsible.
I think there's a lot more bad than good these days, to be honest.
It does seem that way. My thing is, like, I feel I really hate to put it like this, or maybe even suggest this. I mean, you need a background check to go get a gun, right? In the U.S., you need a background check to get a weapon. You have to go do these things. They got to make sure you're not going to take this said firearm and go off and let off a couple in a Walmart or something like that. I really feel like with the internet and Twitter, Instagram, whatever have you, YouTube,
you gotta use
there should be some type of restrictions or background checks for that as well. Cause
okay, go on.
No, I was gonna say I watch a lot of top 10 videos, and one of said ones were the top 10 worst YouTubers, on the planet, and they went through everybody that number one is dead or in jail, and the things that they did were horrendous. And it's like they would quote unquote vlog it. So they would vlog talking about going to stalk this person, and then 2 weeks later, said person that they were stalking is dead. Or this person just had, the bright idea to, i.e., make a pipe bomb. Nobody's the wiser on it, at all. But then next thing you know, a story gets blown up. Who's the one that did it? The guy that vlogged him making a pipe bomb. I really feel like, maybe we do need some type of restriction. We do need some type of background check. We do need some kind of like, hey, you can't just use this all willy-nilly because we don't know what you're going to do. Or we don't know what your purpose is. We don't know why you're doing this. But on the flip side, that does kind of cut a lot of people back, because said people with serious, real mental illness that use Twitter, YouTube, and stuff like that to maybe take the edge off, cope, whatever have you. Maybe even just vlog and talk to the camera, feeling like, oh, there are people listening like me. That restricts them as well. So it's like, it's a double-edged sword. We want to keep it safe, but in order to do that, we also have to lock away a lot of people that are innocent. So I do feel like there should be some type of background check, restriction, things like that, but it's, in the end, it could hurt everything else as well, if that makes any sense.
Well, you're not going to be able to please everyone. I mean, that's really how it goes. I mean, even if you institute this or not, someone's going to have a problem with it. You know what I mean? Someone's going to scream censorship. Someone's going to, how people get. They take things, you could give them, it could be at a 1, and they're going to take it to an 11. That's how the internet is. Go on. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that because they're trying to do a bill here for the On Hands bill, and one of them would be that you have to use your real name to do these kind of like an online passport kind of thing to be able to use the internet. Would you think that is good, or could be extremely bad in both your eyes and your opinions? To deter people from going down these avenues, because if you have your real name, they can find you pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, that's where people have a problem with, because I see it on Twitter all the time, where people are calling for people's real names to be used to get rid of trolls, and other people are like, no, that's the entire point of being anonymous on the internet. They want to keep their anonymity.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, you're going to have that fight every time.
Yeah.
It's never. It's not going to go anywhere. Yeah.
It's I don't know where you can. I do think there needs to be some regulation. I think there's, especially when it comes to financial frauds and scammers and all this kind of crap, that needs to be sorted. But the law itself is so behind as well. It needs to be upgraded to combat to the online kind of criminal enterprise that is going on, especially when it comes to like terrorism and stuff. Um, yeah, yeah, Joe. Red flag laws and common sense laws need to be done. Yeah, I just think you really need to just upgrade the law, to be honest, to make it catch up to the online. I mean, and then could the law really catch up to online harassment? Because even then, like people could say they've been alleged harassed.
I don't think they can.
Yeah, I don't think you could.
The internet, as they've said before, the internet is vast and infinite, and what you're going to realize that it's ever evolving. No matter what safeguards they put in place, when it means law enforcement, the internet's going to be a step ahead of them. They will find other ways to circumvent what's going on. So I don't think that the police will ever be able to catch on to everything on the internet, especially with all these chat rooms. I mean, we're seeing a lot of shooters, and we're finding out that they've been groomed online. And they live stream it, and they're what they're doing, and all this other junk, and I mean, they had people watching them, and the responsibility of those people, they realized, hey, they could have called the police, but chose not to because they want to see how this is going to go down. And I don't think that you can ever have a network that can police all of that.
Yeah, I don't think you could, because again, how many officers would you need to sort that out to deter from real life crime? Even in the UK, like knife crime is rampant. Like it's a very big problem. They don't know how to handle that, but we're going to handle, in quotes, you offended me, I'm going to arrest you. That's what we're heading down, where there's actual crimes, gangs, doing these kind of inexplicable killings. There was even a news story a couple of weeks ago, and the poor young girl got stabbed because she refused to this ADHD boy, and he came into the court. He was laughing, he was smiling. There was no remorse whatsoever for his crime. So, like, what can we do to really deter this kind of behaviour when the only things we can truly do is we said, she said shit on the internet? Which,
and that's that's
That's why I brought up the possible idea of like really going into depths of who this person is, what they are capable of, what their mental state is, things like that, because anybody, and within itself is already difficult to do anyway, because anybody can lie and be like, oh no, I'm totally fine, no, I don't have plans on doing this, and like anybody can do that, and it's not as much of a, I guess, okay idea that is. It's, once again, it's fallible. It's incredibly fallible, because anybody and their mother can lie about something, or their well-being, mental state, or what their agenda is. They can just instantly lie about it, and nobody's the wiser. So once again, double-edged sword. It's going to be hard to do. It's going to be hard to pinpoint and find some type of, I guess, control over it. Because at this point, we really need some type of control. We really do. It's just how to go about it and how to get it the right way. That's what makes it difficult.
To be honest, guys, we both kind of covered the two subjects at the same time, so we're just going to continue this conversation, because like we talked about abuse of children in general, and abuse in general, and it goes to mental health, but it's just how far can we, because we can't use mental health as a weapon, and even then, can we even truly cope even with mental health? Because how many people are saying they got mental health and truly isn't means tested? We don't know much about the human brain, so it's difficult.
Having a background check or even a mental health check, you're pretty much asking for a minority report. That's what you're asking for.
Yeah, and it's gonna be unfair, to be honest. But even Joe said, like, it's an endless cat and mouse game. It really is. You can't really catch
it's
up.
going to be. And 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 the cats will never be able to keep up.
Yeah.
The mice will always run. They will always find a way.
Because even then, like, there's vigilantes now deciding, going, I just had enough, I'm going to do it myself. And of course, we know that is dangerous in itself, because I don't think it's right to put the law into your own hands when you could help the police to help track the guy down. Like, do things like in groups, like the policies that you could go down is that maybe you do your online groups and able to infiltrate into those systems, which the FBI were meant to be doing to stop terrorism and to stop these in-quote crimes, but they don't do anything about it nowadays. That maybe that would be helpful for us as people to maybe go, okay, we volunteer our time to do this, but in exchange, we want compensation so we can cooperate with the police. Maybe something like that could work. Then again, how much can? Because then why they decide to flip? They then decide to do something. It's difficult to maneuver. You'd have to build such a big force just to tackle the internet alone. That's just one part of one thing. It's an again over-ending stream, sadly.
Well, the police wants more funding, so I mean, make them earn it. I mean, that's all you can do. Make them earn it.
Hey, police! Do you want your wages? Here's the internet. Enjoy. Hey, don't say any racist shit on the internet. You'll be arrested. Fucking dicks, man.
Well, and you know it's funny because when that happens, people like to scream freedom of speech, and they fail to realize that's against the government, not in general with people, civilians. So you can have freedom of speech, but it doesn't mean that you're freedom of consequences.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we learned that by a fucking bitch who's crying, I pooped in someone's bed. So it's like people don't understand that just because you have the right to something doesn't mean you have the right to outright lie about someone's died. So again, would you guys be fair to make this assumption that maybe the law is always being biased in certain aspects? Not based on like the law right now is more biased towards women than it is men at this point in time, based on the allegations that usually would favour women in general when it comes to alleged assaults or alleged sexual assault, that it would favour women in general at this point in time.
I wouldn't say so. Not at this point. Not at this point. Because, I mean, you still have to deal with the idea of, like you said, allegations, and I'm using air quotes, allegations and accusations and things of that nature. And the only thing we're seeing now when it comes to said things is the obvious elephant in the room, Johnny Depp Amber Heard case. Yeah. So many things have been said and was pretty much proven to be a lie. It still is not completely together, because once again, anybody can go onto the stand and say that this thing happened, this thing happened, this thing happened. And while it may seem like, oh yeah, it's in their favor, what if they're lying though? And then once it's proven that they're lying, the person who's allegedly did said thing has already done about 10 years. And now they're free. So it's not really in a favor for women's rights or anything of that nature just yet. Once you weed out the, dare I say, crazies, oh God, don't cancel me, everyone. Once you weed out the crazies, maybe it'll start to progress and we can get to the bottom of things and actually,
Well, let's be honest here. All right, the court system favors women. It does.
Yeah.
All right. It took, and we're going back to the Johnny Depp case. It took Johnny Depp to show a serious amount of evidence to have a jury rule in his favor. Yeah. And even then, there's still people who don't believe him. The average person who don't have those type of, that doesn't have that much evidence, or those type of lawyers, they're screwed. They're screwed.
Yeah, they're done for. And so, you know what? And in that regard, that's why I'm like, it hasn't reached the point where it's actually in favor. but it still is. It does seem like it's in the favor of women's rights, but is it really? Because I mean,
well,
you know,
the argument I would bring up is not really the Amber Heard case, but let's just say her argument was done to some normal Joe on the street. He was accused of, was in quote sexually abusing someone, right? Sexually abusing this woman, and he doesn't have the money or the foundations to get a lawyer because, let's be honest, lawyers are fucking expensive. He's only able to barely prove his case. I think he would lose in court against a woman in general, just because the fact.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, the average person is not going. Yeah, the average person is not going to be able to defend themselves. Is correct.
I would even say divorce court is also very bad towards men in general, because like if you're working for so much, you ain't going to be able to see a child. Like, but again, that's another argument. But I don't know. Like, it has generally favored women for the longest time. I'm hoping that we go back to being unbiased, which is the whole point of the court. It needs to be, supposed to see each case unbiasedly. But even with the Amber Heard case, people want to bring up the UK courts, which the burden of proof was on her, on the Sun to present that, and a lot of that was thrown out because we have our own statute of limitations to alleged crimes. Like in America, I think he had to bring the burden of proof, I think, in the States when it comes to his lawsuit. So he had to bring up everything, and the things that she brought up was he said, she said. There was no photos to back up her claim, really, and it's very coincidental that she had the views on a photo when TMZ was there. Like things like that, again, we've seen people edit things from Photoshop and stuff. It's a huge mess, like, just to begin with. And well, to be fair, even then, there was that woman who said I think it was a long time ago, but she allegedly said she got assaulted, but she had a mattress or something behind her or some stupid shit, and we found out that was bullshit. And I was in college, I think. Like, there's a lot of that, but also at the same time, I don't want this to be about women, because again, there are men who do abuse women and do it unfairly, and I don't want it to be that the court then decides, we can't trust the victim just because of this man who did actually do the crime. Like, we need it to be unbiased.
Yeah. You know what, and now that I really sit down and think about it, I will say it does favor women. I will say it does in a way, but in the sense of it favors, God, this is gonna sound really bad.
Well, it
more favors the liars. It favors the liars.
Not really. I think it's just in general that we as men, we're taught not to ever hit a woman. Like, we always think it's disgusting to do that kind of thing to a woman because it's not manly to do something like that. And so when the allegations do get brought up, it's more of, how dare you do that kind of thing when we don't know anything about it yet. So
you're right. It's that mindset. You're right.
Yeah. And then if we guys got abused by a woman, it's like, how dare you get abused by a woman? How could you? Like,
exactly.
So, I don't think it's entirely the same, but it's more of, it is biased in the sense of, we need to change things like mental state, but also at the same time, I don't want Amber Heard's case to be about the fact that actual victims don't get treated fairly, because, let's face it, I don't want this court case to be that the abusers get away with what they did. So it's I would love to bring this up more, because I know we can go on all day about this. So if people want to move on, or want to have final say about this, we can move on.
Yeah, we can.
Because I don't want to keep you all on this, because we can go all day. Honestly.
Yeah.
So, do anyone want to talk about mental health in general? Go on.
I mean, I was gonna segue into it.
Yeah, kind of already tackled that.
Yeah, we pretty much crushed it. We crushed it.
Okay, if we don't want to do mental health, we can move on to the next subject if we wanted to talk about horror.
Okay.
Because mental health is, well, we all know, be safe and all that stuff. So. Because we kind of really talk about mental health in this subject, so we can go on to the horror now. So, go ahead.
And that I guess that'll be my segue because the idea of like abuse and kidnappings and human, trafficking and stuff in that genre, I guess. For some reason, I've been on a kick lately in the horror movie section, and a lot of stuff, which is foreign movies, some from Spain, some from Portugal, some from, just Europe in general. There was one that in particular caught my eye. And this is about an idea of someone taking justice into their own hands and whether they're right or wrong. The movie I'm speaking about, and this is going to be the beginning of the horror segment, the movie I'm speaking about is called 4x4, like a truck, So what happens is this random dude who already has a very big criminal background decides to break into a car and steal its radio. Well, he did a lot of stupid stuff in that movie, and I recommend. It's once again, I'll just go ahead and say this: I'm bringing Tubi movies to the podcast because that's usually where I find all these little gems. But it's free on Tubi, and this is no promotion to Tubi. Tubi is not paying me. If you're listening to Tubi, I do need some extra ducats out there. But anyway, but no. So he decides to break into a random truck on the side of the street and closes the door while he's taking out the radio. He gets the radio out, tries to open the door does not open, automatically locks. Now, he's trapped in this vehicle for 3 days. And what he goes through is absolutely horrendous. And you're probably thinking, why not bust the window? Why not do this? The whole damn truck was set up just for someone to break into it. It's fortified like a tank. The windows are bulletproof and shatterproof. You can't get through them. The walls and siding in the cars, just reinforced steel. The floor, reinforced steel. And the person that has this truck can control it remotely. So he can crank the AC when he wants and freeze you to death if he like, or he can turn the heat on in 95-degree weather and just crank the heat, and just off and on, off and on, off and on. Now, it's a very good movie, stuck with me for a while, but the idea of it is the guy who set this trap, was he right or was he wrong? The guy who broke into said truck, is he right? Is he wrong? I'm not going to spoil what happens. I'm just giving you the idea of it. Who's really right and who's really wrong in this? Because, dude shouldn't have been breaking into nobody's car. He's got a family with a criminal background that he's trying to get away from. He shouldn't have probably done that. But there were so many other things he could have done if he did want to do it to get in and get back out. He did not. The guy who did this is he in the right because he's been robbed multiple times, and he didn't want to go through it anymore. So he figured out and devised a way to, next person that tries to get me, I'm getting them. Who's right or who's wrong in that situation? And by being a horror movie, or I should say suspense thriller horror, it makes you think, and it really questions a lot about people. One of those questions that stuck with me is, I feel like dude that set the car up, it's a little elaborate, but I can see where he's coming from, I can see how he has been through so much that he's like, I'm not letting it happen again. And I mean, anybody in that case. But the guy who's I can tell you this, by the end of the movie, you're rooting for the dude that broke into the car. Like, you're rooting for him. You're hoping to God he makes it out. I swear. You're like, dude, come on, just fight a little longer. Just a little longer. Not knowing and realizing he's a piece of shit. Why am I rooting for this guy? But that's how the movie, really delves into those ideas. And I think that is one of the scariest aspects of horror, is who's right, who's wrong, what would you do in this situation if you were on either side? What would you do? You know, and I think that's the scariest part about it, because people, when they get to those points, those low points, I feel like anybody will do whatever it is to survive. They'll do whatever they have to. They'll kill, they'll steal, you know, they'll do whatever they have to. In that situation, that guy could not do whatever he needed to do to get out of that car or truck. He couldn't. He physically could not do it. And it was just soul shattering to watch it happen. And it's like, I can't believe I'm rooting for what's supposed to be the bad guy in this movie. I cannot believe I'm rooting for this piece of shit thug. I cannot believe I'm rooting for him. But I once again recommend that movie. It's called 4x4, literal 4x4. Check it out. Great watch. Great watch. But the idea of that and that type of horror, we're going to jump right back to that movie real quick just to get you guys' opinion on it. That brings me to subtlety in horror and how it's kind of been squandered as of late within the last 10 years of just your average jump scares, no real substance to it. But before I go into subtlety really fast, what do you guys, off of just me like describing the premise of it and you know what that movie is, what do you guys feel about it? What would you do in that situation? Who's right or who's wrong?
Well, my opinion would be, I'm gonna get my shotgun, I'm gonna kill both of them, because how dare they fucking steal my shit. I'm gonna get both of them. Don't you steal my shit.
It really comes down to you shouldn't have stole the shit in the first place. You had these problems.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, he gets what he gets. I mean,
He does. And there's even a part where they're like, he's learned his lesson. Don't you think it's enough? And the dude is like, no,
no, not at all.
So
He learned
yeah,
fast enough. Nope.
yeah. And I mean, that one got to me. Like, it was really, really good. Reminds me of 127 Hours, except the main protagonist sounds guilty. Yes. Yeah. Oh, he's definitely guilty. That's the thing. He's definitely guilty. Dude literally is a piece of garbage. Like, the opening of the movie, you're looking at him and going, I hope somebody run you over. Like, I don't even want nobody to shoot you. I hope somebody just runs you over. Like, just knocks you down and keeps going and gets you under all the tires. But then, midway into the movie, you're like, you can do this, man. What did I just say?
Yeah.
Like, no, hell no. He deserves. No, you can do this, man. Wait a minute. I'm still saying that. I don't like him. He can make it though. Wait, what? What if you start arguing with yourself? So yeah, it's a great watch. It's something to really like get into and just sit down and don't even like have anything on in the background. That should be the only thing that's on. And the best part about the movie is there's very little dialogue. It's just silence.
That's good.
And you're just sitting there going, he ain't gonna be able to get out of this, is he? Oh God. Wait. Did he just? Oh no. And like the one time you hear him scream, I'm not gonna tell you why it happened, but the one time you hear him scream, it's like, why is this happening to you? You start feeling bad. Like, that's the thing. You start feeling bad. But
I don't feel bad if I don't feel bad for camp counselors getting slaughtered. I don't think I'm gonna feel bad for that guy.
Wow. Wow.
Just saying.
So, you're saying you're sympathizing Friday. You're sympathizing Jason Voorhees, man. What the fuck?
Yeah,
honestly, I don't know how they did it.
They tell you to stay off the grounds at Camp Crystal Lake, and every time they don't listen. So
yeah, I guess. Like,
and that's the weird part in like those types of horror situations is like, dude, you shouldn't have been over there anyway. I don't feel nothing for you. But for this one character, this one particular dude, it's like, I shouldn't feel for you, but damn it, do I. You are going through it, man. Like, goodness. But they made it work. They made it work. So, yeah. So, going into the subtlety of horror and the idea of it, that is a great way of doing horror. It messes with your psyche. It kind of makes you question yourself. But one thing that I feel does not happen enough, and me and my fiance were watching some either a YouTube short. It was one of those like little fan made movies or whatever, and we both know like, okay, look in the corner. Like as soon as the camera starts panning, look in the corner. We know to look into the corner because obviously something's going to be there. Well, it wasn't. There wasn't anything there. And it's like, okay. Then they pan back to the main character. Nothing is still amiss. Everything is still kind of going on. They're in this dark room. But you still wonder about that corner. You're still focused on that corner. Even though it's not in shot, you're still focusing on that corner. And you're constantly wondering, are they going to go back over to that? And that's where the subtlety in horror comes in. Horror should make it worse than what it is. It shouldn't just hit you with a jump scare and just boom, scary. No, it shouldn't. It should make you think. It should make you fear the unknown, which is what horror is best at. Fear the unknown. You don't know what's in that corner. You clearly saw it wasn't anything there, but you have a very, very unsettling feeling that there is something in that corner. Horror movies, as of late, do not do that anymore. They just want to hit you with the boom bang real fast and scare you. Cheap tricks, right? I think that we really need to go back to like the days of what was it, Exorcist 3, where you know, old girl goes to check, the nurse goes to check the room. She comes back out, closes the door. She clearly locks it. And then out of nowhere, this person in all white with goddamn hedge clippers comes chasing right after her. And you know what happens next. You don't even expect that to happen. You know, you don't expect this thing to just come barreling out the door like that. Like that's what gets you. That's what gets you. It's that slow, methodical burn. And I really feel like horror has gotten away from that. A lot of, like I said, a lot of YouTube shorts and things of that nature, and Tubi movies and Pluto movies and Netflix, they have those. You just have to be eagle-eyed to find those types of movies. I don't understand why we haven't gotten back to that. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
I will tell you why, because, and it's sad to say, but people lack imagination.
Well,
I think people want everything now and right away. That they don't like a slow burn anymore.
Well,
that's actually, that is it. It's kind of like the gratification. Like nobody wants to play like a video game, for instance. Nobody wants to play a game that they just want to win. They don't care about how they do it. They just want to win. As opposed to actually going through it and finding that success. And, I did it. I finally did it. Nobody wants that anymore. And it's really messed up because that's right. It's gone now. But I feel like there's just been so many great opportunities in these newer horror movies that they could have used those tactics. They could have made you think about what's under the sink. They didn't talk about what's under the sink. Right, what's under the sink. And you never know until whatever's under the sink actually shows. And maybe it doesn't. But the fear alone of, man, don't go near it. You're sitting there screaming at the screen, don't go over there. Don't go. What happened to that? What happened to people screaming at their TVs or in the theater, don't go open that door? What happened to that? What happened to it? We don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
And I really feel like that is something that these directors, these producers, these screenwriters, they really need to go back and do their homework on, because we're losing a lot. We're losing a lot of good ideas to these cheap jump scares.
Well, I think Hollywood just looks at numbers and see what sells, and I think they say, well, cheap jump scares work. That's what we're gonna go with. That's where we're grossing our money from cheap jump scares.
Yeah.
I also think that there's too many outlets paying for reviews to say such and such is so scary that it'll jump you out of your seat, like The Conjuring.
Yeah.
Say it again for the people. Say it again for the people in the back. Oh my God.
Like there's like, it's so scary that it'll make you throw up. These people had to leave the theater because it was so scary. It wasn't scary to me. I was like, I can't. Okay.
When the last time I used TikTok, and I don't really use it at all. Again, but I haven't used it in a I have My whole like For You is like a bunch of horror stuff, and they're like, "Oh, the scariest movie just came out. I don't know if you can handle it, or the top 10 scariest movies you can't handle, you can't sit all the way through." And when they start to list off said movies, it's like, watched it, watched it, watched it, watched it, watched it, and didn't feel anything. Like, y'all like are y'all that soft-hearted now? Like, for real? Like, I don't understand it. I feel bad for James in Silent Hill 2.
Yeah.
You know what? Silent Hill 2, that is my... I've had this conversation before. Silent Hill 2 is my comfort zone. When I'm like in a bad place and I'm down and I'm, whatever, I'll go play Silent Hill 2 or maybe go listen to the music. It's comforting for some disturbing reason. But James, he is a villain and... a good guy at the same. Yeah, he's a villain. He did what he did.
He's a villain.
Out of this, despite what he was feeling, he walks that line. He really walks that line of, am I a good person? Am I not? Am I a good person? Am I not?
Yeah.
And most of the time, it's like James is not actually a good person. He's kind of selfish. He did what he had to do, but he was thinking, oh, well, you complained about being sick so much, so let me just help you out, which he took matters into his own hands. Bad idea. But you do feel bad for him. You do feel bad because he's, he has to face everything and deal with this punishment.
Dread. It's dread. Yeah. He deals with it's dread for him. And I think that's what Silent Hill, at least 2, when he's in dread, combined with limbo, because that's what Silent Hill is. You're kind of in limbo. That constant feel of dread that never goes away for James, depending on what ending you get. And that's the thing. If you get the right ending, I think the worst ending is probably the best ending.
Oh my!
To be honest, I don't want to give it away. It's a long game. Can I give it away?
Yeah, but I'm just going to be screaming. I was going to say, yeah, Tottenham fan, you do it.
No,
you can do
kills
it.
himself.
Well,
I think the movie kills himself. I think that's the best ending.
Well, to get rid of the hatred and stuff, but he had, then
the cards,
yeah.
Wait, which ending? Which ending you feel is the
When
best?
he ended himself.
When he kills himself.
Oh, in water. So yeah, the in water. Yeah. That's definitely the best. That's all you can get. It's argued that like him leaving with Laura and him raising. I don't think that to be the case. I really don't, because we don't know actually how he's gonna raise her. She didn't even like him. It's like she really didn't like him because she knew what James did. She knew what he did. So, yeah.
I do want to mention something. You both have played The Last of Us Part 1, haven't you? At least seen the ending. Where, what's it, Ellie, I think it is, where she goes to get cured from the zombies. Technically, the main character in that is a villain, because we could have ended all the zombies in Last of Us Part 1 if he chose for her to be sacrificed. We could have had the vaccine to happen. So technically, the main character is technically a villain because he decided to say, I wanted to have this daughter relationship with her instead of doing the right thing to allow her to die.
And that's the thing. That is a very good debate, and that's probably the one saving grace for me for The Last of Us, because I just cannot sit through it. I cannot play through it for some odd reason. I just can't. But I feel like him not letting her be tested on and sacrificed essentially to save humanity was not a good idea. They basically could figure out a way to fix everything, but he was like, no, I'm not going to let this innocent child die, which I understand that as well. I get that part as well. I'm not going to let you just whack this kid just to figure out how to fix humanity. Like, that's messed up. But then it goes into the 1 versus 1 million. What do? Do you sacrifice 1 million people, or do you sacrifice one to save 1 million people? That one got in my head a little bit.
Yeah, that's a very good horror though kind of thing. That's what we should really have. Like, would you sacrifice yourself for the sake of humanity? You probably wouldn't. Cause
exactly. No one would. with all honesty, no one would. I myself wouldn't. Do I die? So well, with my kids, if I had to die in order for them to live, yes. But how is the world going to be after I die and she lives? Is she gonna have? Is everything gonna be okay, or is she gonna have to go through more horror and pain and things of that nature? You know, so it's like that. It's you really don't know what to do or say, and it kind of reminds me of another horror movie, so everybody falls into this disease where they cannot sleep. They can't sleep. They cannot sleep. And it's only two people in the world that can, a little girl and an old woman. The old woman, she ends up dying, but the little girl is who they're really after. And they're looking for her. And like the mother is like, I could take them to the doctors. I could take them to her, but I don't know what they're going to put her through in order to figure this out. So I'm not taking them there. And it plays on that idea of, what do you do? What do you do? Do you save a bunch of people? Do you save the rest of the world by sacrificing your child? Or do you save your child and let the rest of the world go to ruin? So, that type of idea is very, it's tough to deal with. It's tough to make a decision such as that. I personally don't even know what I would do. I mean, if it's my girls, I'm gonna die for them. If I have to, if that's the only way to save them, I'm gonna die for them. Other than that, the rest of the world, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard. You can't make.
No, I agree with him.
Wow, none of you give me a hat so I can survive? Wow, typical Americans.
I agree because I put it like this. Saving the rest of the world also means that you're saving all the bad people in it too.
Yeah.
So you're going to have your murderers, you're going to have your people who are fighting for power all the time. You're going to have all these things. It's like nobody learns from any situation. And because even in the world that's in ruin already, they're still acting like animals, if not worse.
Well, that's just... Yeah, well...
Sorry, but...
I do want to briefly mention... how was it? Shango, sorry, I have brain dead today, so... But he agreed that horror movies should be thinking about the mentality and what's real or not. And also that he brings up The Ring when it comes to the TV static. Which, that's pretty much what we want, what I would like to see more of. Instead of it being the science of horror, which we know of, that is always either is in the corner or is this area or that area, that you do put us through the hoop. But at the same time, people are going to complain that you have to think in a movie where it should just be just a relaxing experience and just see some goofy, crappy, gory, fucking shitty movie.
Yeah, and that's that gratification. Like, it's that self gratification, that instant gratification, I should say, where you want to get hit with everything all at once, and like you don't want to, experience it. You just want to get it right then and there. And I think that's where, like Vince said, no one has, imagination anymore. Nobody sits down and actually goes, oh God, that shadow over there, I don't know what that was, but I feel like it might have been something. Nobody actually thinks like that. It's just like, oh, it was a shadow. Oh, well, where's the monster at? Where's the monster? And the best, and I know like many people, if you've seen it or old enough to have seen it, it's not that old, but Blair Witch. The entire movie, we got described the witch. We were told what she does, and you never saw her. But that fear of just like, that's her outside the tent. And it doesn't even sound right. Like, you hear all this scratching and growling, and you're like, in your head, what could she possibly look like? And Todd McFarlane kind of ruined it, but he didn't. It's non-canon.
Yeah, with the storyline. Yeah, he did.
And when I saw that idea, like, that's what I was picturing in my head. No, mine was worse. Mine was way worse.
And the thing is, when that came out, when people saw it, they was like, oh, I went to the movie theater and saw nothing. It was a movie about nothing. I'm like, dude, you missed the point.
No.
You missed the point.
It's like that
and
whole...
tried to make another movie with the Blair Witch. and they actually showed her. So it's like a.
Here's the thing: they didn't actually show her because that was just one of her, I guess, servants. That long-armed bastard, but that was just one of her servants. That wasn't her. The only thing that pissed me off about the recent Blair Witch movie was the whole shining bright light outside the window. And it's like, oh, now we're dealing with aliens. And it's like, oh, okay. Now we just messed up the movie completely. We've messed up the movie completely. But the idea that her presence was still there and that you saw what somebody who serves her or believes in her can become, like, that's pretty terrifying.
Blair Witch ended with Book of Shadows. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
And I love Book of Shadows. Book of Shadows is my fall. And like as soon as like October hits, November hits, I gotta watch it. I have to. It's just that's ever since it came out, that was my thing. I had to watch Book of Shadows on, during that time.
I'm just upset that none of you mentioned the greatest horror of all time that's coming out soon. Winnie the Pooh.
Oh God, the Winnie the Pooh horror movie. Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna work.
It's gonna be
It's gonna be funny as hell. That's what I'll say. It's gonna be funny.
What is he gonna do? He's gonna chase fucking Rupert, or not Rupert, fucking the boy, and chase him because he wants to get honey. Like, does he suck the souls out of someone just because he wants honey? Like, is he gonna be the person he kills the bees?
We don't know what's gonna happen.
We only have screenshots. We only have screenshots of what Winnie's gonna look like. And
it looks so bad, though.
It's pretty freaky. But you know what?
Winnie and
you know what it is?
Yeah.
It's basically Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah. They're taking that idea because they're supposed to be making a Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and this, I believe, is like a precursor to it. They're trying to see how to gauge the audience and see how it's going to work, and what better way than use Winnie the Pooh? I mean, you could do Barney.
Well,
Barney
they made it Five Nights at Freddy's, though. Willy's Wonderland.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. Yeah,
which was great.
So I don't.
It was great.
Yeah, it is. It is. Shango said with the Ring. Oh yeah, we know no ghost is gonna come out of the TV and kill you. That's okay. That is a very good point, and I want to kind of touch on that really fast. That's a very good point because and it's a little bit of story time as well. So when I first saw The Ring, we watched it on VHS. I had a DVD player. I had my PlayStation 2 at the time. We could have watched it on DVD, but no. We had to watch it on VHS.
Yeah.
We had to watch it on VHS. And as soon as the movie was over, the phone rang. And this was like before mobile phones and stuff like that. Well, mobile phones were a thing, but they weren't like how they are now. And we looked at the caller ID and it said unknown number. I cannot tell y'all how shook I was for a week just because of that happening. I was so terrified. I'm like, oh my God, it's over. It's over. In a week, I'm going to be dead.
See, I would have done that, to be honest. I would have done something like that. If you're watching, I would love to have done something like that to someone. Just random number with the Ring.
I kid you not, man. I kid you not. Like, it scared the shit out of me. I was so just worried. I was in stress and everything. And the bad part about it is we had old CRT TV, Fatback. So I'm like, she can definitely come through this TV. She definitely can come through this TV. So the whole time, like that whole week, I'm just watching like Looney Tunes and Dexter's Lab and like all my favorite shows, Gundam Wing. I'm watching all my favorite shows, and at some point she's gonna come to the TV and get me. I was freaking out really bad, really bad. But that idea plays on that, and with the Ring, I became obsessed with it. I have not all of the books, but I have Ring Zero Birthday. I have the actual Ring novel. And then I have all the movies because I was just completely obsessed with like Sadako. But here's the thing about Sadako: she's like Carrie. She wasn't a bad person. They did bad stuff to her and her dark side, and here we go. We got the curse. But Yeah, I that bothered me so bad, and that's probably why I became obsessed with it, because I was bothered by it. But that's how you do horror. That's another good, very simple, and freak everybody out. And this is how I'm going to leave the horror section. Junji Ito. I have never been afraid of spirals. Never. Now, after reading Spiral, I can't look at a little, like, even the lollipops, like the big ass lollipops, I can't look at those anymore, because it's like, no, this has something to do with spirals. This has something to do, nope. And the idea of taking the most simple things and making it terrifying. Junji Ito is a master at that.
Absolutely agree, because well, you're in the ring, the only thing you gotta call it is Ghostbusters, and also kill the ghosts apparently from the 2016 remake that apparently killing ghosts you can do that. So that's the horror.
That was
for me.
A horror movie.
Shit like that. And
that was a horror
remakes.
movie for different reasons.
Yeah. But yeah, I absolutely agree. I think The Ring is probably very underrated, and people should really check The Ring out.
Yeah.
Very underrated movie series. And
yeah, I mean, the idea, like, you couldn't go anywhere. It was gonna always get you.
To be honest, like, I was in the same boat. Like, I was shitting myself when I thought the fucking TV was gonna come and get me. And I had to. I didn't sleep like for fucking 5 days, you know, as well. I couldn't go to school. I was really that scared. I was shook. And.
Oh yeah. I mean, this event knows this one. I'm definitely sure. Candyman. That movie was so effective that if you said the word Candyman just out loud, everybody and their mother would, hey man, what you doing? Shut up, don't say, huh? I just said Candyman, don't say it again. Like, people literally were freaking out over you just saying his name. That was effective. It worked.
It was the old wives' tale of Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
Like, you went back and, like, when you went to the bathroom in the dark, you said Bloody Mary 3 times, then you turned on the light. It was the same effect, and I think they did a good job with Candyman. I mean, they fleshed out his story, which is good, but I mean, it's pretty much the same effect. It's the same type of game, childhood game that you played, and it just carried over to, they just pretty much brought it over to adulthood. And the thing is, they did make a Bloody Mary, I believe, horror movie, but it didn't go over well.
I think you could have done it well, but I think in the way that the limitations to the mirrors and the windows and things like that, it might have made it more difficult. But I think you could make a real life Bloody Mary movie, but it would be so limited to what you can do with the character.
They made a Bloody Mary horror movie in 2006.
That was a bad time, wasn't it? Fucking a lot of
horror slasher film.
Yeah. A slasher film, it doesn't work. It has. Because I can remember, I think Supernatural does pretty well with some horror aspects, because they did a Bloody Mary episode where, like, some of the killings in the TV show was that if you said it a couple of times, it would go after those who cheated or whatnot, and they did it quite well, to where it wasn't just the mirrors, it was in the water. Like, if you have a reflection of anything, like Bloody Mary could come out, but it was more of a what am I thinking of? It was more of a curse aspect, because she was a ghost, and that's where the rumors happened. But things like that, I even like the idea of just make a rumor, make that into a real horror. Like, oh my god, you heard this rumor? This guy can come out if you do a specific thing. They will come out and kill you, because rumors can accumulate into a horror as well. So I'd like to see.
You know what? And I know that a lot of times they've been trying to do, like, you know, urban legends and things. But you're on the right avenue for it. You're literally, you got the great idea, but you're just not doing it right, because that's something that works. And as far as horror and subtlety in horror, just spread a message that this thing can get you if you go outside and 12 o'clock p.m. in a forest somewhere, and this thing is going to get you. Just spread that rumor, and trust me, it will mess with anybody you talk to. And all you gotta do is say, yeah, there was a kid, he was like 7 years old, he went out there playing with his brother, and he didn't come back, and da-da-da-da-da. But some things in the forest are all around the time of 12 p.m., and now you get the idea of, oh man, we can't go over into that forest right now. But we gotta go hunt. Nah, we don't. No, we don't. Not right now. We'll wait an hour later.
It's the same thing when people go camping. They're like, you want to go camping? Nah, I'm good.
No, I'm good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's unworthy.
There's going to be some guy out there with a hockey mask on. Nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that works. That works as far as horror, and I really feel like we need to get back in touch with that again. Like to really make some legit good horror movies, we need to get back in touch with those ideas, those aspects, and those elements. Use them. I mean, it's easy. That's the crazy part. It's easy to come up with a story of this mythological thing that people have talked about for hundreds of years and nobody believes it exists, and all of a sudden here it is, and it's like, oh, well, there you go, boom. It's really easy to do. So
just before we finish the subject, Shango mentioned that you could do a Bloody Mary movie, but you'd have to avoid the deep lore and cliche stuff like Satanism, being a source of power, etc. Maybe. Also based on horror movies, off a true story too. Texas Chainsaw used to get under my skin. Yeah, Chainsaw Massacre, fucking Christ, that movie as well.
Well, let's be honest here. When these movies say it's based off a true story, it's usually 0.1% that is based off of, and the rest they just run with.
Yeah.
Well, what was the movie?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
The one that came out where they broke into the house and they were like, "Oh, why are you doing this? Because you were home." What was the name of that movie? Because that movie was based on a true story. Strangers. There you go. Yeah, that movie was based on a true story. What the true story actually was the director or writer or wherever he saw someone break into somebody's house while they were at home and didn't do anything. He broke in, took what he took, and got right back out. And he came up with the idea like, oh man, somebody broke in and you don't even know they're there. And no, it wasn't based on. I mean, that is a true story. That situation happened, but not the way that the strangers actually happened. Nobody broke in your house and was standing off behind the counter, in your kitchen, waiting to slit your damn throat. There was nobody. That never happened. But yeah, I think they do take too much liberty with based on a true story. I think they really do take a lot with that, and it's like, no, man. I mean, yeah, it sells. It definitely sells. Absolutely. Somebody sees based on a true story, they're definitely interested. But depending on the case, it's not.
Yeah, that's true. Like even like based true story things, like you're gonna exaggerate the truth to a point where it makes sense to make a movie. Because if you just did Stranger Things, just a guy just comes in, knocking on the door, and breaks in, and just does nothing, doesn't really help. Like I obviously this Florida woman, like last episode you mentioned, that just cleaned like a dude's house and did nothing, pretty much just cleaned the house and pet the dog. Like imagine if a woman who was crazy with like a knife and just decides goes on a rampage one day, like I don't know, drugged up, was in a psycho asylum, was on drugs, and just decides to go on a massacre in Florida. That would be a good movie.
Yep.
Florida Woman Strikes Back.
I mean, think about it. The Visit and M. Night Shyamalan. A lot of his movies kind of pissed me off outside of The Sixth Sense. A lot of his movies pissed me off, but The Visit was done so well. The idea, like these kids going to their grandparents' house for the weekend or the week or however long they stayed, and come to find out these aren't your grandparents. These are two escaped mental patients, and they are absolutely dangerous. That was done really well. Yeah, really good.
I thought the acting carried it more than anything.
Oh, the acting was awful. The acting was terrible.
Okay.
That should tell you something then.
Yeah.
The acting was terrible, but the premise and like how it was executed was I'll give it a thumbs up for that. But outside of that, no. And the acting was god awful.
Well, any final thoughts for any of you? Or time to move on to the next subject.
My final thoughts: go watch 4x4. Go watch Monster Project. Go check out Tubi. Just go check out Tubi TV for all horror needs that you have. And Tubi is not paying me once again. Tubi, if you listen.
Yeah, Tubi.
Anyway,
we want your sponsorship. Give us your money, bitch.
We will help you as long as you help us. We will work together. Tubi. But yeah, no, seriously, go watch 4x4 Monster Project. Go check those movies out. They're really good. And they have and Hell House LLC. I know I've mentioned it before. Hell House LLC is another great idea of how you do subtle horror. And what was that over there? Did you see that? Did you see that? And like that kind of thing. Definitely go check that out.
Yeah,
absolutely. So that's where I take my leave.
You got anything to mention, or is it? No. Okay, you got nothing to say. Okay.
We kind of cleared that one, so yeah.
Very good subject. We should. Don't know, we're gonna bring this up again probably in the future, because it's again like these subjects are always interesting to have like a good debate on horror, because it's just an easy thing to do. Because it's kind of leads to the next subject, comedy. Comedy. When it came to Dave Chappelle, where the guy did what he did to the comedian, he attempted to kill him. And we also did find out, very interestingly, the dude who did that is arrested for murder. He attempted to murder someone during the attempt that he did to Dave Chappelle. So the dude was completely unhinged, but today, like, we're aiming to talk about, is comedy getting censored, and do we believe that we should have an open discussion with comedy? Do you feel that we have too much limitations nowadays, where people are getting offended too often?
Well, let me start by saying that BET is putting out a documentary about comedians. I believe Kevin Hart is producing it. It's called Right to Offend.
Ooh,
it's called Right to Offend. I think it's picked up by BET.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna watch that. We'll be watching this on the show. It's meant to.
Me personally, I feel there's a line between comedy and just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, that's just being shock factor just to be shock factor. Like, and I don't believe in that whatsoever. Like, there's a number of comedians that say things just to get a rise out of you, and it's not actually funny. They're just saying things just to be saying things, and like they'll describe something that they're doing. I you know what? I'll give you a bigger example on this. All right, a more clear example. For people to be funny, I believe there was a video that's on TikTok that the guy was watching The Big Bang Theory, and just about everybody hates The Big Bang Theory, but the fact is he was watching The Big Bang Theory, and the guy was just explaining what he was doing. It wasn't any punchline to it. It wasn't nothing funny. He was just explaining what he was doing in that scene. And yet, people were laughing. And the guy's response is, why are you laughing? He's not doing anything funny. He's not saying anything funny. Why are you laughing? And I feel we're seeing that way too much now. You know what I mean? I think that it's that's supposed to be comedy without saying anything, without a punchline. I've seen the absolute opposite of it. I believe it's Jeselnik, the comedian Jeselnik. He says things just to piss people off because it's shock comedy. I don't believe in shock comedy at all. I think you're just saying nasty things. Yeah, you're just saying nasty things just to say nasty things to get a rise out of people. Okay. I think it's lowbrow, and I think that it doesn't take much. It's there's no genius to it. There's no creativity in it. I just think that it's just stupid. I think I don't understand how people get paid to do that. I mean, you want to get that far. I mean, your average troll on Twitter, you might as well just pay them.
Exactly. I'm so glad you said that, because, it always, for some odd reason, when said people get in trouble or, they get attacked or whatever. Hey, it's just a prank, bro. It's just a joke. Or you can't take jokes seriously and da-da-da-da. It's just comedy. No, what you're doing is you're antagonizing people and you're masking it behind the idea of comedy. And my answer to what the situation with Dave Chappelle is, there was probably nothing wrong with what Dave said. Dude just was on that. That's just what he was thinking about doing. But then, he caught the consequence. Now, here's a case where I feel bad for him. Like, dude caught what he was going to get. They whooped him. They gave him everything. So he deserved that. But the idea of like, oh, Dave Chappelle can't say this anymore, or Kevin Hart can't say this anymore, or Cat Williams, he keeps mentioning this one particular thing that's not funny. That's where the line becomes drawn. You're either antagonizing someone, and it doesn't matter who it is. You can antagonize a group of people, or you can antagonize one person. I feel when you do say things like that, you hide behind the idea of, oh, it's just comedy. Now, I'm not saying you can't make jokes, with anyone. I mean, we joke all the time, but at some point you have to know, like, what is serious and what is not. So when are you being funny and are you just actually poking at me specifically? So the idea with Chris Rock's situation and Will Smith, yes, I am bringing that back up, that old thing. But the funny part about that is, no pun intended, the funny part about it is like, okay, why did you specifically talk about Jada being bald or G.I. Jane, whatever the joke was? Why did you specifically go after that? Now, how Will handled it and what he did with it is a little different. But I also feel like at the same time, dude, you went there. So what did you think was going to happen? Will probably wasn't. Like, once the initial joke happened, he was laughing. And then Jada looked at him like, that's funny, huh? All right, hold on. Let me go up here and slap the right. It's like, dude. It's like, dude, he really only got up there because Jada had something to do with that. But it does go back into the idea of what's funny and what's just aggravating someone. Because, me personally, I didn't find it offensive. I mean, the new G.I. Jane movie, because Jada's bald, okay? How many chicks have gone bald recently? Not gone bald like they lost their hair, they actually cut their hair. How many? Like, it's a thing now. It's a short hair, it's a thing now. So I didn't really see it as like an offensive thing. I didn't see the need for Will to go up there and slap the shit out of Chris Rock, even though it was funny as hell. I didn't feel the need to be like, oh yeah, he was right about that, until the idea, maybe you should stop playing with people specifically. But there's the crux of it. When is comedy funny, or when is it antagonizing or trolling someone? And when you're trolling someone, you're actively trying to, like you said, get a rise out of that person for them to do something, or maybe nothing at all to happen. Maybe that person won't slap the shit out you, but they might really dislike you afterwards. When does that line get drawn? Or when do you cross it, I should say?
I just want to briefly mention Django saying that comedy is subjective. Some jokes can land while others can be tasteless. Yeah, but it depends on the comedian, to be honest. Like, again, people have different flavors for different tastes. Like, Dave Chappelle is very dry. He's sometimes too dry. Some of his comedy can be questionable. To some people might get offense, but again, that's on you as a person to take that offense. If you are truly upset based on what he said or done, then that's on you as a person to question yourself and either move on or just enjoy what you enjoy. Because I do enjoy offensive humor in some aspects when it's done in a tasteful manner, like the nasty joking in Faulty Towers is absolutely tasteful because it's taking a mick out of a racist organization. It's not taking a mick out of Germany, which people were trying to censor. Now, again, it's the same thing as another TV show called All Britain, which of course got cancelled because there were things that are questionable, that can tend to offend people, and I can understand it because it goes down a different path. But again, comedy can be funny if done correctly. But if what can be tend to be offensive is if you're going down a terrorist jokes or something like that, or something that can go too far, that leads towards a reaction would probably be if you as a person have to make that decision based on what might have happened in your lifetime might affect you, and it might be that you don't like instant comedy. So the best advice would be don't go to those kind of shows, or just enjoy yourself.
Exactly. Like, don't tune into those types of comedians. Like, okay, we all know we all know this, but if you like her comedy, that may be for you. Me personally, and I'm an Eddie Murphy, early Dave Chappelle, from that time, and they did say a lot of they said a lot of offensive things, but it sometimes was at the expense of themselves, They would roast themselves while making jokes, and it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of funny. But when you start to specifically target someone, like for instance, I would pull a Will Smith if I knew him. If I knew Eddie Murphy personally, and he said something about a situation that I'm in, and specifically pointed it out to me, that wasn't funny because, I don't care about anybody else finding it funny, but I didn't find it funny because you just tried to make a joke out of me and my situation. Don't do that. Like, that's the line. You can make the jokes all day long. You can talk about how, what's his name, the boxing promoter, his fucked up hair. You can talk about his fucked up hair all day long. He probably enjoyed it and laughed too, and that's fine. But then you talk about somebody that has an addiction, and it looks like such and such fell back off the wagon again, da 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 da, and you try to make a joke out of that, knowing this person is probably struggling with that. You probably shouldn't make those types of jokes. Not at their expense or at anyone's expense. Like, oh, everybody that came here tonight is. But I see all the martinis on the table. Who's really recovering? Ha 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 ha. It's like, okay, that's not funny. That's,
But then again, I do have counterpoint to that. But what if it was a wrestling show and the wrestler did say, "Oh, you're a bunch of druggies. You're all not recovering properly. Just like typical promo." Would that be fine though? Because it's not really aiming at anyone, but it's trying to get heat from the crowd. That's where the argument would be. Go on.
I mean, and I kind of agree with that too. Like, but if that's your audience and that's what that's the ones that are watching you, somebody's gonna take offense to it. Somebody will. Somebody's gonna feel personally attacked. And I'm not saying that like they're sensitive or anything, but it might be just that struggle, like, oh man, why would he say that? That ain't funny. And then what's crazy about that is once that said joke happens and that person is found to be offended, they instantly go to them like, oh, look at him over here. He the one that got a problem. So you gonna sip your drink or not? Because you're just gonna prove me right. And it's like now you're picking at somebody, and it's like, nah, man, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. But to attack someone physically and try to harm, no. Now, if you know this person personally, and it's like something y'all got to deal with yourselves, like, hey, let me see you outside real quick. We need to talk about this. And hell, you come to blows, or you throw hands, whatever happens. But that's between y'all. But you don't know this guy. He doesn't really know you. Well, he doesn't know you. and you, for some reason, felt offended, which is funny because the guy who tried this with Dave Chappelle, it wasn't even towards him. He just felt like being a white knight. No, I'm gonna defend. No, dude, sit down somewhere. Sit down. You obviously should not have been there.
I'm just gonna mention, how dare you, Kirsten, mention a fucking game in my stream? How dare you, good sir? How dare you? He mentioned Sonic Origins in my weekend stream. He's getting cancelled. Get out.
Oh no.
Yeah. How dare you mention something in my stream that's not related to the topic? By the way, he's a good friend of mine, so, you know, it is what it is. Don't ignore me, I'm just being a dickhead. So, and also to mention, Shango did mention, do you guys think that this will lead towards attacking, because with what Dave Chappelle and of course what Will Hatt did, do you think this will be a trend that comedians will now get attacked? Because of said joke might offend them, that they would jump on the stage to try and attack?
I think
Yes.
comedians.
Yes, it's about to be a thing. It's about to be a thing.
I think comedians throughout the years, because they've talked about before how they've had people attack them over the years. I just think now it's going to be tenfold.
Yeah, because the way that it's being promoted as well is not exactly a good thing to subject someone because of a joke that might offend you. It should be you as a person to question yourself. Because at the end of the day, if something does truly offend you and angers you, maybe turn the channel off. Maybe just leave. Don't watch him again. Like again, there's a lot of few people I thought were alright, and then to a point where I'm just like, oh, this dude's just so fucking annoying. He's just boring. He doesn't do anything.
Anthony Jeselnik. I watched his show once and was like, yeah, never again.
Yeah, that was.
I learned from it.
See, like the UK is like all fucking left-leaning comedy, so it's all about Brexit and all this shit. It's like, I don't care. I really don't give a fuck. Like, I want to enjoy myself and this, and then you got Ricky Gervais, and it's like, oh, for goodness sake. Then I got another fucking moron who's gonna bore me to tears. So it's like, I usually turn off and just watch classic comedy now. I don't really watch anything outside of. Actually, 8 out of 10 Cats is a good comedy show. I probably end up watching that off and on. Yeah. I miss that. Oh, I miss that comedian dude who died from cancer, man. I miss that fucking dude so much. Because he was so fucking dry, and his comedy is just so amazing. I love the dry humor, man, when it's done correctly. Comedy. I disagree, Goose, on that one. Saying that comedy is pretty much dead. Not really. Because again, we all find something funny. Like, for the man, for the woman, technically that's funny. Like, we find that humorous.
Yeah.
Like, well, in anything, even comedy, we can make the decision what's funny. Like, again, drama, when it's really, really boring, can be fucking funny. Like, some of the way people die in horrors are fucking funny. Like, it depends on what you find funny, but to an extent, yeah, comedy is kind of dead in the sense of there's no way to find something that is fun for someone. Instead of, we're now picking what is or what can't be called upon to be a comedian joke. When people want to talk about rights and have rights, that also comes in with insults in comedy. If you're on rights, you've got to have both sides of the same coin. You can't have one or the other. You can't be a victim and then decide the next week to insult someone. You know, it's two sides, and that's where it leads, really.
That kind of reminds me of long time. At the time, stepmother. I think my little brother fell or something happened to when we were outside. Her dog started busting up laughing, at him falling. Now, me, I find it funny when people, fall. I laugh. I was depending. There's no serious injury or it didn't look ugly or anything. Like, you just bust your shit, I'm gonna laugh. But what she told my little brother, because he said, stop laughing at me, that's not funny. She got mad and said, oh, you can't tell her what's funny and what's not funny. If she fell and she found it funny, she gonna find it funny. And nobody else had a problem with that. I kind of was like, because mind you, this is her daughter, me and my, as we don't share blood. My daughter, her daughter and my brother, we don't share blood. So, I mean, I could laugh at my little brother falling all the time.
Yeah, that's fine. See, like, people don't understand, like, the most, like, even in an accident, you're fucking laughing,
dude. Yeah, like that's just us. And we've always, found a way of laughing at each other, some type of aspect. But her, it was like, everybody asked her, so what happens if he broke his leg? Or what happens if he split his whole, like, knee open and everything, and blood is pouring everywhere? Is it still funny? Is it still funny? If she thinks it's funny, then yeah. No. No. He needs help. He needs emergency help if it was to that. I'm sorry, but that wasn't funny. Like, him falling the way he did was not funny. All he did was bust his shit. But because that's my little brother, I'm looking at him like, but on the other side, my, at the time, stepsister is laughing at him. And I'm like, I want to kind of beat your ass because you laughing at him, but he hurt. Real. Like, he hurt. But you think it's funny. And your mother is like telling you, oh no, it's funny if she think it's funny. All right, so if I take this whole tire iron and crack it across the back of your neck, is it gonna be funny then? That kind of idea. And at some point I was like, maybe she's right, maybe she finds it funny. Real side of me was like, my little brother was hurt. And I'm trying to tend to him and help him get up, and she laughing? What if I kick her in the chest right now? Would that be funny? No, it wouldn't. No. It wouldn't be funny. So, like, it's that idea of, you can't just deem something to be funny just because, if it's funny, it's funny. If you think it's funny, it's funny. Because not everybody thinks that way. It's like, it goes back to the old mindset of, okay, you got picked on, everybody made fun. You didn't find it funny, but everybody else did. Now you feel against you. So no, not everything is funny. That's one of my biggest sayings. Stop playing with everybody because not everybody plays with you like that. You don't know certain people, so don't play with them like that. Don't laugh at people like that. Don't mess with people like that. Leave them where they are. Don't poke fun at them, don't make jokes of them, especially in certain situations that they're dealing with. Don't do that. But on the other side, if you know this person closely and personally and, something happened and you find it funny, y'all can both laugh it off. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's just shit myself, but it was funny.
It wasn't funny to me when I did a split when I was doing skating. I didn't find that funny, but people fucking found that funny. People were laughing my shit off because I was about to fucking swear as well. And I was in cadets, but it was like a small ring. So when you skate, I think it's skiing, and you're trying to do the brakes. I couldn't do that, and I landed very awkwardly, and everyone was laughing. I'm like, oh, I didn't find that was funny. That's just me, when it happens to you.
And sometimes, sometimes you can laugh at like that, and that's what I. Can poke fun at yourself and laugh at yourself, then it's okay. Like, I totally agree with that. Like, oh yeah, I'm this big 6'5" mother, just came and punched me in my damn mouth and felt like I got hit with a cat. Yeah, that's funny. I can definitely make that joke, but it like, again, you have to either know how to deal with the comedy yourself. Or you have to personally know said people that's making the jokes at your expense, because that means that you both are making the jokes. Like, you can laugh while they're laughing, and then you can make it even worse. You can be like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna split my nuts as well at the same time. Like, everybody that's cool. But when you start to target and maybe pick at people or anything like that, then that's when comedy starts to kind of dive back a little bit. And it's like, okay, it's not funny anymore because A, I don't know you, B, you don't know my situation, and C, why did you pick me out of all people for whatever reason? So it's that type of situation. It's very vague, it's very thin line-ish, but Yeah.
Just want to briefly mention when the comments, because he responded back saying, right, but how most comedians can't do a joke without angering a person and they take the church and scream to the echo chamber. Yeah, people can't say certain things anymore, and that's how, unfortunately, that's the line that we are in. But to be honest, like, again, when it comes to Twitter and the echo chamber shit, really, should anyone give a shit what some jabroni says about you outside of your circle? Not really, but I can understand where it can affect your work, because again, you offend someone now, it's bye, you lost your job, you lost your special, your Netflix or anything. It can fuck your career. So it's difficult now. You have to tread on water, which back in the day, we used to be able to do things. I used to make fun of Chelsea, and Tottenham. But it's again, as long as it's done with banter. Oh, by the way, Ben, if you are saying anything, we can't hear you.
I haven't said anything. I'm listening.
Yeah, I was wondering where you were, man.
Yeah.
No, I'm just listening the whole time.
Okay, comedian. You seen my lines? Huh? Seeing my lines?
No, I heard what you said. I just let it go.
Okay, Chelsea.
You won't let this go, will you?
No.
No, he won't.
No. Unfortunately, it's part of my comedy skits. He says I'm going to do Arsenal support, I'm going to do Chelsea support. But yeah, as long as you both know each other, or you know each other in a circle, I think it's fine. As long as it's designed where you don't go too far to a person's personal life to the point where, you're going down their mental health and things like that is fine. So you ignore that. But if it's like, again, the odd joke that is not designed to offend, but you're making the decision to be offended, then that's on you as a person. And yeah, take care of yourself, Shango. When you get your blue
take care, man.
moderator, I want you to cancel people, okay? That's your power.
That's your
You must
power.
cancel people. Yes. We need the cancellation squad. We don't. I take offense to people who ain't Arsenal supporters, so I can't have it. Which yeah, we're near the end. I do have. Got anything else to say before we get to the randomness, I guess?
No, that's about
Nah, yeah, I'm pretty much. I said everything I need to. Yeah, I'm pretty much good on that one.
So I do have a couple of brief stories, but it's not really anything major. But I gotta fucking go through them. Let's see. There's a story, but this was back in 2017. Robot assaulted by drunk man helps police arrest him. Another K5 made the
I can see
news
that.
after injuring a toddler last year. So the robot, eventually a US man was arrested for allegedly knocking out a security robot while drunk. The incident took place in Car Park, Mountain View, California. Fucking California, why is it always California with their fucking robots? I fucking hate it.
I don't know.
Mm.
That's where they make
You know
it,
what?
So, I mean, Silicon Valley.
I hate robots.
Honestly, Florida can go ahead and become its own. Hold on one second.
Yeah, it's. Can you say that robots? Why robots, man? God damn it, I don't like robots. And also, there's another one, a drunk man faced.
You'll get the level.
Yeah. Can we just cancel robots? Can we just do that?
No.
Yes.
You'll get to learn your new robot overlord. You'll get to love your new overlord. Don't worry about it.
So you're saying I'm a slave now? What the heck?
Yeah.
Wow.
You'll conform.
I'll conform. You know what? We're gonna have this debate about robots, man. I'm not having it. I'm not having it. I want back in my day where my job wasn't stolen by a fucking robot, man.
Now that I have a problem with. I saw a video not too long ago where there was a robot bartender, and I'm like, that's a person that should be having a job. Yeah.
Bro, that's what they're doing.
There's certain jobs, I think. Yeah.
Like retail, anything that's to do with telephones, there's gonna be AI. Everything's gonna be done by robots. So technically, that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
I'm fighting these robots. I'm on my fucking work, dude. I need the money.
I mean, look at how YouTube is. Honestly,
Yeah.
AI runs mostly everything, and you do one small thing, you sneeze the wrong way, YouTube is on your ass. And yeah, you heard me, YouTube and Google, they're on your ass. I'm sorry, I have no fear with that because it's just ridiculous at this point.
I do have one story. Are you guys ready for this one?
Okay.
Drug man faces 8 years in prison for invading Polish town in Russian tank.
Wait, what? Wait.
Yeah.
He invaded Polish town in a Russian tank.
Yeah. This was back in 2019, by the way, as well. A
I'm
man.
trying to figure out where he got the tank.
Yeah, that's what the question is. Like, a man has been arrested after taking a Second World War Soviet tank for a joyride after around a town in Poland.
Okay.
The
Joyride.
Yeah, the 49-year-old was apparently responsible for loading a 40-ton vehicle into a transporter lorry, but during the process the ramp broke, so instead he drove it into the streets of Pachikino, a town in the center of the country. The TSS tank, which is at least 60 years old, the property of the Polish military, but to residents of the town it appeared more a threat than a museum piece, so they quickly called the police. Well, yeah, it goes on to, the obvious that you shouldn't be fucking drinking a fucking tank. God damn you fucking floaters. God, actually, that's fucking Poland, fucking hell.
Yeah, he's blaming Florida for
Yeah.
Poland.
Right. I mean, has had his track record, so it's kind of easy to go straight for Florida.
God damn it, this is some... Oh, this one's kind of recent. Sergeant Major got so drunk he sold his leathers and amigos Oktoberfest. So, he got drunk and he shit himself. Pretty much. Yeah. Oh, it looks nasty, the photos. Oh god, I'll have to send this.
I would rather not see the photos.
No, you're gonna see it, you're gonna suffer.
No, I would rather not. No thanks.
Well, you're gonna see it. You're gonna enjoy the suffering. So you can't see it though. You literally can't see it though. This is well, so you sent it.
Look. I already have too many messed up images in my head, and it mirrors. All right. Okay.
Fine. Oh, fine. You Tottenham supporters, you can't handle a joke. See, you're offending me now. See, you can't handle a joke.
It just depends. Oh, see, no.
Yeah, you can't handle it.
We're canceling on it. Yes.
Fine. Typical. But yeah, I think that's it. I got nothing else to add. But I will be trying to find more news, hopefully in the future when it comes to drunken stories. Because bro, there's gotta be some good ones out there. I just gotta hunt them all. I'm gonna be the Pokemon catcher.
There's a never-ending supply.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, I just gotta find them. But yeah, that's pretty much the show. Hope you all enjoyed the topics. I clearly enjoyed them for a more informative and more of our opinions on these subjects, because again they are very important to us, and of course hopefully we can do this instead of Google deciding to change the fucking time. Piece of shit. I ain't forgiving you, Google. I declare war. But yeah, that's all we really got, and I hope you all do take care of yourselves. Do any of you got anything to mention before we head on out?
Yeah, I got one. Watch Spriggan. Watch it. Watch Spriggan. It's actually pretty good.
I'm planning on watching Spriggan. I am definitely planning on watching this.
Yeah, it's 6 episodes long. It's really well done so far that I've been watching. So yeah, I would just say watch Spriggan. It lives up to the hype. It does. So that's it. Yeah, that's all I got.
That's definitely next on my list. I am totally watching that. I just talked about that the other day. I was like, damn, I need to go watch Spriggan because this sounds. I mean, the manga is great, and now we get an anime for it. Oh yes. I'm in
It's
for
a
it.
series. It's a series. The original anime movie still isn't available. I guess they'll re-release it once the series does well.
Mm-hmm. Do you have anything to add?
Not really, but I will say this: go watch 4x4. Go watch Monster Hunter. I keep saying it, so that means it needs to happen. No, honestly though, it's always good to do this and sit down and discuss everything. A lot of good fun, a lot of good laughs. Yeah, and I definitely will never stop providing the good horror because that's what I do. That's my job. So I'll be bringing some more stuff once I find it, and some good horror, not none of this little California Hollywood bullshit. I will bring you some good stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah. Definitely check those things out and enjoy.
Well, my one, I guess, it would be to watch Jujutsu Kaisen, because again, it's a good series. It's 24 episodes. It's a very good, fun comedy. Well, it's not comedy, but the way it goes, the animation, the action, the character development is really, really good. And of course, my boy Kojo, legend, one of the strongest Jujutsu teachers out there, and his ability is gangster. So can't mess with him. And just to briefly mention, how many episodes you in for Naruto then?
Me, I don't know. I'm on season 6, episode 7, something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so you would have finished the Sasuke fight, I'm guessing.
The first Sasuke fight. Yeah. Now they're just looking for him. That's all.
Okay, so yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, because it was a good round of. Again, it's a good anime, but I understand that people hate it. I don't get it. Yeah, we'll convert you. It's okay. We'll convert you. Don't worry, Ringzo's next, and I got some things for him and Rick comment when it comes to a bet. So don't worry, they'll be suffering as well. But it'll be more of a live action, if you know what I mean. That's right, they're going to be watching Cowboy Bebop. That's what's my plan. So there you got it first on the podcast. Next bet on the Event America podcast they're gonna suffer. So yeah.
As long as nobody asks you to go ahead and watch One Piece.
Oh yeah, watch One Piece.
No, I will not. I refuse.
Wow, don't convert. Damn. Well,
One Piece can kiss my ass.
Okay, Tottenham supporter number 5. See,
Right.
Wow. But yeah, I hope you all take care of yourselves and find peace within yourselves and love, and don't get too drunk. But remember, next time you do the show, if you ain't just drinking, you ain't doing a podcast right. Say goodbye, guys.
All right. See you later, everyone.
Take care, everybody. Take care of yourselves and take care of everyone you love.
That's right.